This meeting is being recorded.
Where did that? There we go. Okay. Okay. Hey everyone. This is the bi-weekly cloud provider extraction migration subproject meeting. And I will share my screen. Okay, cool. You guys can see the agenda here.
Yep, I can see it.
Cool. Okay, cool. Let's get started. Jared, I think you have the first one on leader migration work. I saw your PR for this. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so I finished the whole project. Give me a sec. All right, so
That's much better.
sorry for the okay, much better. Okay, so I finished the whole process of migrating from KCM only to KCM plus CCM with scale-ups, which is great. So first I would like to have a shout out for everybody who like helped me with this process. Although I didn't see anybody involved like in this meeting. So for now I'm trying to ask, like, do anybody have any experience to do leader migration outside the COPS? Because in order for that to graduate, I should have the automated test part get ready very soon, because I just need to automate the whole process with scale-ups. But I still need like signals from other cloud provider to see if they have experience doing the leader migration.
Yeah, we're doing it, or we've done it a number of times in test environments. I don't think we currently have a running automated job, but we have tested it.
So to be clear, the GA requirements only call for one automated, but
Yep.
We need a sign off from each of the cloud providers planning to do it that it worked for them. So I think as far as Amazon goes, as long as you're willing to say it worked for you, I think we're happy on the Amazon side. I think then probably our biggest concern would be Microsoft. And I know Elmiko, you had mentioned that your team might be able to sign off that you were able to do the migration on Microsoft.
We could certainly try it. Yeah, for sure. We're running CCMs on Azure right now, so we're doing the migration there with OpenShift. But I don't think it'd be an issue for us just to take a regular kube and like migrate it and see what happens.
Yep. And I can take an action item to follow up with you, Jared, on like if there's any more testing that's remaining for on the GKE side of things.
Okay.
I'm probably saying a little much googly, but if you could follow up, Jared, and this is not an OSS requirement, but if you and Andrew could follow up with the Warsaw team.
Okay. I need to find the point of contact later.
I believe Layla can give you the point of contact.
I guess that I will be involved from the Warsaw team.
That would be great. Let me put. Could you put your name on the attending list so I can have a link on that?
I will ping you internally.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. Introductions are probably in order. Do you want to do a quick round of introductions, Andrew?
Yeah, sure. Sure, I'll go first. I'm Andrew, SIG cloud provider co-chair. I recently actually joined Google last month, so pretty new, but been working in this area for a bit. Walter, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Walter. I'm also at Google. I'm an emeritus chair and the current TL for, or one of the current TLs for SIG Cloud Provider. I also am the lead for the extraction working group and for things like the API server network proxy. Michael Elmico, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'm Michael / Elmico, is what we'll call me online. I work for Red Hat. I primarily work on things like cluster API and the autoscaler and stuff like that. But our team has crossover into these cloud providers. So I like to come here and see what's going on and help out when I can.
Nick?
Hey, I'm Nick Turner, other co-chair of SIG Cloud Provider, and I work at AWS on EKS.
Jared?
Hi, this is Jiahui or Jared. So I've been working for the extraction working group for the leader migration feature, and I'm currently trying to bring that feature to GA. So yeah, any help will be greatly appreciated.
I'm going to butcher names. I apologize.
I-
Jacob?
Yeah, it's Jacob. I'm from Google. Recently I've joined a project related to the cloud providers, and as I understand, it's kind of migrated to my area of responsibility. So I try to understand what's going on with this cloud provider extraction and what is the state of the project. So I'm pretty new to the area.
LeBron?
Hello, this is LeBron. Work for VMware. Been working on cloud provider vSphere for a while, but this extraction group is new to me.
Awesome. I think that's everyone, right? Cool. So going back to the topic here about migration. So I think you mentioned, Jared, about like you're working on EDB tests, right?
Right, it's basically automated tests for to upgrade the cluster and then roll it back with kube-ups.
Using kube-ups.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. And then yeah, I saw your PR for the V1 types. I guess like that'll be dependent on like the EDB test and whatnot. But that sounds good.
Not really. So for this, for the new API version, the only thing I really need a extra pair of eyes to look at is like I remove the field. So we used to have a resource log field because we used to support like licenses, endpoints, etc., etc. But nowadays we can only support license because I think Wojtek removed support for anything else like in 1.24. So there's no point keeping this field anymore. This was discussed during the cap. Sorry.
Can you remind me what the field was?
Could you just go up a little bit? Yeah, we used to have a resource log field. Could you go to the
right? It was just we're
you
just hard-coding it to lease, right? Instead of this one.
Yeah, we used to have a resource. Yeah, so it should be licenses or endpoints, but endpoints was removed in 124, which means this field can only be licenses, and because it is defaulting to licenses and can only take a license, then we may as well just remove this field.
I see. So what I meant earlier is that,
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. What I meant earlier was that like we wouldn't want to promote the config type or API to V1, like we want to do that along with the FeatureGate promotion, right? That's what I meant by blocked on the EDB tests.
Yeah. So like, so if I send a huge PR which flip the FeatureGate with the V1 API, then the PR will be too large to review. So I need to split that a little bit to help you to make the reviewer's life a little bit easier. So that's why you can delay that if you think you can. So I'm just putting this like a little bit earlier so that we can have some reviews a little bit. So
makes sense. So like this FeatureGate,
that.
This FeatureGate is on by default, right? Like right now is beta.
Yeah, right. So it is on by default.
So why? So I'm curious, like with the FeatureGate flip to GA, is there a lot of changes that come with that?
No. Well, so a little background is like last time I was criticized for making PRs too large for the reviewers. So I'm splitting that.
I actually think that this is probably a good idea to split. If nothing else, one of the things that is inevitably going to come with an API change is whether or not we need to go through API review, and especially for API, if we do, and I don't think we should have to go to API review, but I think it is likely to be a discussion. And if we do, having it broken out the way that Jared had is probably a good idea.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess like the only concern I was raising is like, because it happens before like you promote the API and then we forget about the gate or vice versa. So just things like that. But like no objection to splitting it in general. Unless we're saying explicitly that we don't need we're okay decoupling the FeatureGate but the API version. But that seems a little weird to me.
Maybe
I will. Go ahead, Jared.
So maybe we can just have like so maybe you can maybe take make it a preview for the API type. So if everybody's okay with the API type, then it will be much faster. Like when I finish off the testing part, then we can just merge those PRs all together. But just review that a little bit earlier. That's my point.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The one thing one quick mention, Jared, I noticed we still have V1 Alpha 1. We probably should go ahead and delete that.
Okay.
And if you've actually noticeably changed V1 Beta 1, which you seem to have by removing the leases field, it probably makes sense to deprecate V1 Beta 1 and try and delete it as soon as we can.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Walter, I think you have the next one about kube-up supporting the cloud provider option.
Yeah.
There's a PR that, can you link it here?
I can find it and link it. The short version is there's a PR that is merged, which now gives us the option to turn off the cloud provider flags when you run kube-up. That is a precursor to being able to test the two flags, or at least one of the two FeatureGate flags for cloud provider. So we need to go ahead and create a test job, which should be pretty light, and then we can get a very good idea of which tests are relying on cloud provider being turned on.
Makes sense.
I have a question related to the disable cloud provider and disable credential provider flags. For the disable credential provider flag, so that obviously disables the credential provider. Does setting cloud provider to external on kubelet also disable the entry credential providers, or has it been separated?
Yeah, it's one of those like weird, confusing integrations. But like credential provider is a separate subsystem of kubelet independent from the cloud provider flag, to my knowledge. So yeah, like that's why, that's why there's two feature gates, because there's no like good way to like logically bundle it into the same feature gate. So setting cloud provider external does not disable the kubelet credential provider.
Got it. Okay.
Is that a problem? Or like, is there a concern around that?
Not a problem necessarily. Yeah, so the reason why I'm asking is just because we are deciding whether or not to ship our next version with credential provider, and how decoupled that is from disabling cloud provider is a consideration. So if we have kubelet running with cloud provider equals AWS, you know, and we have the credential provider, then the external credential provider, then there's two code paths for getting credentials. Yeah. So anyway, I was just curious if setting kubelet to external actually disables the internal plugins or not, but it sounds like it does not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in fact, it's worth mentioning, neither of the two feature gates actually disable cloud provider. I believe what they both do is cause the executable they're in to crash if cloud provider is enabled.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Actually, I think the kubelet credential provider one actually like disables just the plugins individually, because there's no feature gate to toggle any of the entry credential providers, so it can't crash those.
Okay, I know that the regular, maybe that's true for credential provider. The regular cloud provider just crashes the binary if it finds that cloud providers are enabled.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. Okay, so I guess the action item for this is to run tests, maybe like create a proud job, start a proud or create a new proud job that disables cloud provider, and see what tests need to be fixed.
It also needs to set the two alpha flags, or set two alpha feature gates.
And that's the disable cloud provider and disable keyboard. Yeah, probably all of them, but find that out later. Cool. Anything else? Let's see. I think like, yeah, the testing, let me go back to what we had for priorities. I think the testing was the big one. Oh, the webhook stuff. Is there anything to discuss for webhooks?
I've started working on it. I'll bring a PR to either this meeting or the other as soon as I have it.
Okay, awesome. Cool. I think that's it for the agenda, unless anyone wanted to bring up anything else. Cool. Let's end it here then. Thanks all. See you in 2 weeks.
Thanks. Later.
Bye.